What's up, guys? Chili Sports Cards. Today, I wanted to just talk to you guys about card grading. Put out a few examples right here for your viewing pleasure while I talk to you guys. The main thing that I want to talk to you guys today about is SGC and why I'm still going to use SGC. And this is just me in my personal opinion and how I feel and what I'm going to do with SGC moving forward. Now, SGC, in my opinion, over the last, say, 5-6 years, has been the most consistent grader. I know when I watch a lot of guys that grade a lot, and when they talk about spinning the PSA wheel and, you know, this and that, and Beckett being a mess and everything, SGC they've never really had that. I've sent in quite a bit of cards compared to Beckett and PSA myself personally, and I've always felt that SGC did the best job as far as being most consistent with what I thought the cards would get. I think there was one time I sent in an order that was about 20 cards, and out of all the cards, when it was all said and done, I think I was off by like 2 points, meaning, say, like if I predicted that was a 9 and it came back a 9, then that was like I guessed it right and there was no points off. But say if I would thought that card was like a 9.5 and it came back a 9, I'd be off by 0.5, you know, whatever, 0.5 of a grade. Or if I thought that was a 10 and it came back a 9, I'd be off a whole grade. Out of 20 cards, I predicted I was like off by like 2.5 points, which I'm not a professional grader, but the thing is when you do this stuff enough, then you know kind of the grading scale and what to expect. And when you visually look over the cards really well, you kind of have a rough idea of what the card should grade. One of the guys that I respect a lot is Alico, because he sends in a lot of cards that get graded by SGC and PSA. And, you know, that's why he snaps his when he doesn't agree with him, because he knows. And he'll send him back in, and a lot of times he'll get higher grades. And, you know, he's increasing the value of his cards that way. So anyways, SGC, I don't know the ins and outs of why they sold. I'm kind of trying to figure that out as to if they were like a publicly traded company or whatever. I don't know if there was that guy that left, Peter, if he was the one that was in charge of making that decision to sell to PSA. But at the end of the day, I know that PSA just wanted to buy SGC so they can gut them and get them down to what they said themselves is, you know, pre-pandemic quantities, make them less relevant because they want the business, they want the money, they want the majority in the card grading world, PSA. I've never liked sending cards to PSA because I've never really liked the process of it as far as what my beliefs are in the company and what a card grading company is doing for me. So the things that I don't like about PSA is they ask you to submit a certain amount of cards, whether it's like 10 or 15 or whatever the numbers are. So you're scrounging looking for a couple cards to add to your order that you might not even want to order, but, you know, in order to send it off, you're looking for a couple extra cards to send. And then with the membership, I don't think that you should have to pay for a membership to grade cards. I think that's ridiculous. Now, they've changed that recently where you can send cards in through GameStop, and I think that's really cool, actually. But overall, I've never enjoyed using PSA. I paid for the membership for 1 year. The turnaround times were so bad. It was like over a year and a half wait. I'm like, nah, man, that's ridiculous, dude. Like, if they're that popular and that many people want to use them, let them have it. I don't care. PSA was involved with the Slapgate stuff with that big auction house when I got back into the hobby. And I was one of the very first people that sent in, newer or more modern cards to SGC to get graded. I was one of the very first ones to make a YouTube video about it and tell everybody, hey, I think you guys are all kind of missing out, because you know what? If the thing is if a company can grade vintage, they should be even more capable of grading modern. Because if you're going to trust a company to send in a 52 mantle, and you're not going to trust that company to send in a newer card, like, that doesn't make any freaking sense. It's a card. It's a sports card. It's the same freaking thing. It's the same thing. It is. Whether SGC is more geared for vintage. In the past, that's because everybody put that on them. Everybody's like, oh, well, we'll just use them for vintage because that's their little niche or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you just want the card graded and authenticated, it doesn't matter. And I was one of the very first ones to do that on YouTube. And I really like SGC. I'm going to continue to use SGC because I like the freedom that they have, where you can just send in 2 or 3 cards or 4 cards or 8 cards or 6 cards. You don't have to pay for a membership yet, as far as I know. I just sent in an order maybe about a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months ago. I don't know. It's been a little while. And they were pretty consistent. I didn't really like every grade, but I was okay with them for the most part. There was one card that was off top to bottom, and they gave it a worse grade than I thought it deserved. But over the years, I mean, let's just take this card right here, for example. This Gunnar Henderson Topps Chrome. You can see that it's off-centered right to left. The right's a little bit less thinner. You know, you go back to the year 2020, this might have crossed over to a PSA 10. It might have. But now, because they're always changing, you know, this would never cross over to a PSA 10 now. It'd be a PSA 9. You know what I'm saying? So PSA, they've continued to make all these changes and do all these things, and SGC's been very consistent. And they've been consistent for a long time. I like the grading scale the best. I really like the 9.5. If there's a card that I really, really want to buy on eBay for my PC or for something that I really like, that I want to keep, I love the 9.5 because I'm not going to pay a PSA 10 price for it, and that's why I love it. I love getting the card and not the slab. If I do get something like this, like a PSA 10, this is an investment card for me. I'm buying this because I'm pretty much counting on the dummies out there that want to pay overpriced money for the PSA 10s. And, you know, if this guy turns out to be what I think he will, this might be, you know, a $400 or $500 card in the future. I'll resell it for that. I'll make money and I'll laugh because, you know, PSA, it's nice. It's a nice slab. I really like the label a lot. I just don't like the company. You know, to me, they're inconsistent. I just don't like them. I have never liked PSA ever since I got back into the hobby. So SGC, you know, I know that there's 2 major things that are really hurting their I guess you could say their hobby lover now. People are worried that they're going to shut down SGC. They're just going to close it, and then what's going to happen to the value of their slabs later? Well, there's 2 ways of looking at it. You can look at it one way, and you can look at it the other way. The way that most people are looking at it is that the values of the cards are all going to go down because they're not grading new cards, and you know, it's just that it's going to be like a thing that went away. But I can understand that, and it makes some sense to me. But at the same time, the real ones know that these guys have always been the best consistent graders. So I can see myself in 10 years, 15 years, you know, there's going to be a lot less of these out there. And if you have the option of saying, like, say like this is we'll just use a random card. Say this is a Mike Trout update card. Prices have come way down, and you know, he's in the Hall of Fame, but he didn't really accomplish what we all thought he would, whatever, right? Say this is a Trout update card, and there's an SGC 9 and a PSA 9 on eBay for sale in 20 years. I'm going to go with the SGC 9. Not only is it going to be cheaper, but I'm going to believe in that 9 more. I'm going to want that SGC 9 more because, well, for one, I'm going to like the way it looks more because I just like the white and the black. I think it looks really good, you know, the white and the black. But also, there's going to be a heck of a lot more of these. There's going to be a lot more PSA 9 update Trouts than the SGCs, right? Common sense, right? And a lot of times in the hobby, when something's rarer or there's less of them, usually that tends to hold more value, right? I mean, that's just the way that it usually is. If there's less of those, and everybody remembers SGC as a valid grader, then to me the SGC is going to be the better card to pick up. Now, is that going to be the way that it really is and how most people see it? Probably not. But I will. I know that I will. I know that the real ones will. And that's how I see it if I'm looking ahead in the future. So regardless, whatever happens to SGC, I'm always going to be more, on the side of buying SGC over PSA 9 just because I like SGC more than PSA. You have all these guys in the hobby that have big channels and big viewings, and they don't even talk about other companies. Very, very little. Like guys that I actually really like to watch, like Jabs Family and Striker. There's lots of guys, and they're always just so quick to mention, oh, PSA, gemming up, this and that, PSA. Well, there has not been one grading company in the hobby that has done more harm for the hobby than PSA. They have graded more Jordan rookies that are not authentic. They were involved with the Slabgate. They are trying to make a monopoly and buying and shutting down companies, or publicly stating the fact that they can basically do whatever they want, kick everybody in the ball sack, and we're just going to buy SGC and take them back down to pandemic levels. Like, come on, man. And these guys still support them, and you guys still go along with it, and you're like, oh yeah, PSA, they're the ones that they're the best, and blah blah blah. They're not the best. They've never been the best. They've always been the biggest joke. And everybody that continues to use PSA, it's all good. I get it. I understand. It's what's popular and it's what people want, but they're not the best. These guys are the best, and they have been for a long time. So go ahead and keep being sheep if you want. If you want to continue to support PSA, by all means, go ahead. I can't say that I blame you. At the end of the day, say if I bought some 2025 Topps Chrome and I pulled a James Wood color auto, whatever, I would go down to GameStop and tell them, okay, send this card into PSA. I would too, because at the end of the day, you're going to probably get your most value out of it. But I'm only doing it because you guys are freaking idiots. I'm not doing it because I believe in PSA. I just do it because I think that everybody that is, that's what I believe. And I'm just telling you straight up, that's what I think. As far as the slabs, the real physical slabs, inside of this BGS holder, there's an inner sleeve and the subgrades, and it being way thicker of a case. The actual best slab is this one, Beckett. They have the best slab. It might not be the best looking. It might not be what you're looking for the most as far as, but you cannot argue the fact that Beckett actually has the best slab. That inner sleeve is huge to me. The subgrades, huge. I love the subgrades. If you sent in this card and it got 2 10s and a 9.5, and it's just off on the centering. Centering is not a measure of defect or damage on this card. It's just the way that it was cut from the factory. So yeah, it looks a little off on the top right here, top to bottom. The right to left looks pretty good. Is this card a mint, or is it a gem mint off centered? It's a gem mint off centered is what it is. It's not just a mint, but according to their grading scale and how they do it, it's a mint, right? But when I see this card, I see a gem mint off center is what I see. And you can see however you want, but if we're just talking about the slabs, the Beckett's the best slab. PSA I think has the best label, and they're a nice case to hold. They do a good job as far as the clarity of the plastic and overall look, and it looks good. It's a great looking slab. The red matches a lot of different stuff, and they're not bad. It's just the company sucks. I can't stand the company. SGC, there for a while, for a lot of years, they did the best job overall. They didn't necessarily have the best labels, but the Tux, it really went with a lot of cards. The only cards that I didn't really like the SGC in were the base chromes or the base prisms. I just didn't think that it really went very well together. But for the white cards, for the colors, for refractors, to me, SGC was the best overall slab and the most consistent. and that's why I will continue to use SGC. There is one reason and one thing that will make me not use SGC anymore. Actually, there could be two things. If they want to start charging people a membership fee to use SGC, I'm done. And then number two, if they change the grading scale and they take away the 9.5, I'm done. After that, honestly, and that's just my personal opinion, that's the two things that will make me go, okay, I'm not using SGC anymore. Until those two things, until any one of those things happen, I will continue to use SGC, and that's me. And that's what I'm going to do. If you guys want to use my advice and think about it and continue to use SGC, I would. I still think that they're probably going to be better than PSA. I was actually thinking about snapping out some SGC 10s and sending it into Beckett just to see if I can get some 9.5s or 10s, because I guess the gem rate on Beckett's up a little bit. So I think that could be a good thing to do right now. Take advantage. Because if you look at an SGC grade, the scale, 10 is a pretty much flawless card except for the centering. The difference between a 10 and a 10 gold pristine is centering. So if SGC says a card's a 10, I think it has a good chance to cross over as a BGS 10. And sometimes the centering, it's very, say a card's 49.51, it's really, really close. Beckett just might give the dang thing a black label. Who knows? Maybe they start, sending out a couple more black labels because they want to, try to gain some ground, Who knows? I don't know. I'm going to test it out. I'm going to let you guys know how it goes. But don't give up on SGC yet, guys. Don't throw in the towel on them yet. They're the best grading company out there, in my opinion. And I don't want to see them go anywhere. So keep using them for me and for yourself. And I appreciate it. Thanks for watching the video. I'll talk to you later. Have a great day. Thanks.